serve as a mission president in Arcadia, California. We brought our youngest daughter, Jessica, with us. She turned 13 2 days after we arrived. We had left a strong community here in Provo, where Jessica had been surrounded by many good friends and extended family members. So we knew the transition would not be easy for her. The first few weeks were the hardest. We arrived in the middle of the summer, so while my wife and I were extremely busy in the mission, Jessica didn't have much to do other than miss her friends back home. Well, one day, just about 3 weeks into our mission, I pulled into the driveway of the mission home after a long, busy day, and I saw that someone had written with marker on the living room window, "I hate California, I miss Utah, I want to go home." I went inside to find Jessica sitting alone on the couch, watching TV and crying. I took my daughter in my arms and said to her, "Jessica, no one in this world is as important to me right now as you are. Do you think we should go back to Utah?" "No, Dad," she replied. "You and Mom can stay, but I need to go home." Later that night, my wife and I counseled together and agreed that it was important that Jessica stay with us on our mission. But we thought it would be okay if she flew back to Utah for a weekend. So we sent her to stay with some family members here with the plan that she would fly back to California on Monday morning. Well, that Sunday just happened to be Fast Sunday. And in the evening, I received a phone call from Jessica. "Dad," she said, "I've been fasting today, and I have received a revelation that I should not fly back to California tomorrow. I am supposed to stay here in Utah." "That's interesting," I replied. "I've been fasting too. And I have received a revelation that you need to get your tail on that plane." Well, she did get on the plane, and she did come back to California. Within a few weeks, she was befriended by the young women in our ward and in seminary. And she even made some friends who accepted her invitation to learn about the gospel and be baptized. Now, 3 years later, our mission was coming to an end. As I drove into the driveway on the last day of our mission, I saw that Jessica had written with marker on the living room window, "I love California, I don't want to move." Jessica learned, and so did I, about the strength that's available when we gather with fellow saints. Looking back on this experience, I believe the Lord was preparing Jessica for other times in her life when she would need that strength. One of those times came just a few years ago after the birth of Jessica's first child, a precious daughter named Annie. Annie was born 2 months early, and she had a rare genetic disorder that caused her muscles to violently contract. This would happen about 60 to 70 times a day, inhibiting her breathing, while her parents and doctors could only watch helplessly. After fighting through a short but difficult life of only 4.5 months, Annie died. And Jessica later said, "My husband and I definitely couldn't go through this hardship alone. The relationships that we have with our family and friends have strengthened us through this child." You might say that Jessica had learned the importance of winter friends. My dear brothers and sisters, when you go through dark days, and all of us do, you will need winter friends. Who will you rely on? Or better yet, who will rely on you? Who considers you a winter friend? Here at BYU, you have a multitude of precious opportunities to gather with people who, though they may come from different backgrounds, share your values and standards. Please don't neglect these opportunities. In addition to attending sacrament meeting and other Sunday classes, go to your ward activities, attend family home evening groups, take your ministering assignments seriously. Build strong relationships with your roommates, and just reach out to people around you. This is where you will find lifelong winter friends. You won't find them in online video games, and you won't find them in social media feeds. This kind of deep, lasting relationship happens only when we gather. We've talked about how the Lord gathers us as family.